Heritage, Elite, and Global, 3 real estate agencies across the Greater Montreal. And today we're going to be talking about numbers. We're going to see if the Montreal real estate market is going down. We will look at 10 new properties that we have, 10 stunning new properties that we have in the Greater Montreal area, condos, family homes, investment gems. Mike, my favorite. You name it, we've got it. We're going to be showing you all that today.
Exactly. And also, we'll be exploring the question that's got the whole industry talking. Are Montreal house prices finally on the decline? We'll break it down with the numbers and give you our take.
And today's show also goes a little deeper, especially for many of our viewers who have family or are themselves part of the Snowbird lifestyle. Let's be honest. Almost every Canadian family has someone who's worked their whole life to earn a few warm winter months down south. Mike, your parents even took this even further. They call it home.
Exactly. So my parents are living in Florida right now. So it is a real thing. And the weekend economy is shaky. The Canadian dollar is weak and the new tariffs are being discussed. And travel advisories are adding a layer of anxiety. So families are wondering, is this still viable? Are the rules changing?
So that's why we're joined today by Burton Wilkins III, global real estate advisor with Sotheby's International Realty. He is of a real estate family who have helped thousands and will be joining us from Ocean City. Those are actually or Miami. We're not sure. Those are his 2 markets. And he's here to help us better understand what's actually going on in the U.S. market for Canadians. But first, let's dive into this week's fresh, new, beautiful listings. We've got our friend, our dear colleague, Isabel Stern, another beautiful property, $610,000. We've got the Brody Windsor team.
They're working pretty hard. They're actually really involved in the community. They're doing a lot of stuff there. So it's always impressive to see them do what they do.
And we see them every week.
Every week, again and again.
Beautiful properties all across the Greater Montreal. We've got more listings to come. We've got market insights though now.
Absolutely. And if anything stands out or jumps out, drop us a message. Let us know in the chat. We're booking private meetings every single week.
So let's talk numbers. There's been chatter lately. Are prices in Montreal actually going down? That's the question, right? According to the latest Canadian data, it could suggest true. But Mike, is that right? Because I was in Toronto and it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it's really different. When you're looking at all the other big cities compared to Vancouver, compared to Toronto, maybe even Calgary, I think it's something that's true pertaining to them. But right here in Montreal, in the Greater Montreal, is the complete opposite. Our lack of inventory. I mean, people are just jumping in multiple offers every single day.
You were telling me earlier, March numbers, what do they look like for Montreal? When we talk about number of transactions, I like to look at the number of transactions. I feel like it's a better pulse on what's the activity level.
Well, I think we're up 13% compared to last year at the same time. And last month, I think in February, we were somewhere around 8%. So that means I think we're back on the rise again, especially after that 25 basis points that came down on the interest rate.
And this is not what we see in Toronto, Calgary, and Vancouver. They're on the negative side of things, so we have to be thankful. We have to be very happy about our market in the province of Quebec, especially here in the Montreal, the Greater Montreal area.
And we're still affordable.
We're very affordable. Yes, that's right, Mike. And now a conversation that hits home for a lot of us, whether it's our parents like Mike, our clients, or even ourselves. The snowbird life has long been a Canadian dream. I know you dream about that every day. Mike, you talk to me about it all the time. Escaping the deep freeze for a few peaceful sunny months. But lately, things are feeling a bit uncertain, right? The Canadian dollar is down. Tariffs are being floated. And travel advisory has been issued for Canadians, heading south.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of people wondering what's really happening in the U.S. in the real estate market for Canadians.
So here to give us a pulse is Burton Wilkins III, global real estate advisor with Sotheby's International Realty. Burton and his family have decades of experience in the Florida and New Jersey market and a deep understanding for how Canadian snowbirds are buying, selling, and especially navigating this new landscape. Burton, thanks for joining us. What can you tell us about the market in Florida for snowbirds these days?
Well, first, thank you for having me. And I'd like to start off by saying that the real estate market here in the United States is still fairly strong. We are seeing an uptick in inventory and a slight downtick in volume of sales, but prices are still holding strong.
So are you seeing hesitation or confusion from the Canadians right now?
Yes, of course we are. I've had multiple Canadian clients reach out to me about potentially selling their properties in Florida, most of which are in condo complexes that are dealing with all the new legislation that's been imposed as far as structural and reserve studies, which has, in short, made fees go up, which, some people understand and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and others are trying to make sense of these increased fees and whether it makes sense to sell in the short term or hold out. And my advice to them is I believe I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm telling them to hold strong.
Taxation in terms of capital gains for Canadians that would actually purchase a property in Florida, decide to sell it, those capital gains that they would make, would they be taxed in the United States for that?
So we deal with foreign buyers or sellers. There is something we call FIRPTA, which is the Foreign Investment in Real Estate Property Tax Act. And that is a 15% withholding of the gross sale price. So if let's say you bought a property back in 2015 for $400,000 and you sold it this year for $800,000, you would have a $400,000 capital gain, which would mean that you have a $120,000 FIRPA tax withholding. And then from there, what my advice usually is that I say to consult with your accountant, and then they'll help you finalize how you file your tax return and finalize the settlement with the Internal Revenue Service.
So when you talk about appreciation of prices, I guess for the fees, if fees are going up as you're describing, I guess the appreciation is not following the same rate of increase. So maybe that's why we're seeing some Canadians thinking, well, maybe I should sell if it's costing me more to carry with the weak dollar, the fees going up versus the appreciation of the properties.
Yeah. So, condos, obviously, with the new legislation being put in place, are seeing a slight downturn year over year, depending on which county in Florida you are, somewhere between 1% and 5%. But we've also seen slight appreciation in the single family market due to this, because some people are selling in condos and then buying in single family, which has been a trend since the start of COVID. But yeah, I do personally see light at the end of the tunnel for most condo complexes. There's obviously anomalies that, are older buildings that deferred maintenance and now are trying to play catch up. And because of that, you read PR articles where, someone bought a condo for $200,000 and got a special assessment of $100,000 and they couldn't afford to pay it.
Yeah.
Those are unlikely, and I'm not seeing a ton of those. But most of the buyers and sellers that I deal with buy in newer condo complexes that we advise them to purchase in. And obviously the ones that I was just speaking about, we usually advise our clients to stay away from those.
And in terms of when you're talking about condo fees, would that fall into the HOA as well? Or do they have a HOA fee plus a condo fee that would be added to it?
So before all this new legislation was put in place, there was a HOA fee. And then if, a component of the building, let's just say the roof came up to be replaced because it was failing for whatever reason, that if there wasn't enough money in the reserve account to cover the roof replacement, then they would have to do what they consider a special assessment. Now, these new laws are putting in place that the buildings need to do a structural study that looks into all the key components of the building and making sure that the building has enough money in reserves to replace or repair any of those key components that would need work.
Wow. Okay. So it's not being really enticing for a buyer to come in not knowing exactly if whether or not there's a special assessment or one to come, because then they can find themselves by making a purchase that could really have some negative impact.
That is correct. And, the new trend in the condo world is buyers are now doing more due diligence than they ever have prior. and making it more important to work with an agent that truly understands how all of this comes together so that they can advise them correctly.
All right. Well, thank you, Burton. If families are trying to navigate this, how can they reach you? What's the best way?
You can reach me on my cell phone, +1 609 464 2571, or my email is my first initial, which is b@burtonwilkins.com, or you can put my name in Google and all my information is easy to find.
Well, thank you again, and hopefully it maintains, the market keeps going, and you have a great year ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me. Have a wonderful day.
You too.
So now let's get back to our Montreal pick of the week. There's some serious standouts, and here is another 4 beautiful properties with 4 exclusive brokers of the Mellor Group.
They are exclusive.
We've got properties all across the Greater Montreal, as you see on your screen. Charles Robert is one of those brokers that has a multitude of different properties pretty much everywhere in the Greater Montreal.
Yeah, he's definitely getting a lot of traction. A lot of the brokers from the Mellor Group right now are seeing a tremendous amount of business. We've noticed that a lot. As you can see, every week, the amount of listings and open houses that we get is just increasing and increasing. So you can see that there's a lot of movement happening.
So Sophia Chen, congratulations there. Now let's talk about the U.S. economy and its impact on Canadians. Just to build on what Burton was sharing and shared, we're seeing a ripple effect here at home. Canadian families are reassessing their retirement goals, their vacation home plans, and even how they view international properties. That's why having local experts, and that's why we have this show, is so important.
And that's exactly what Burton and his team represent. It's about more than listings. It's about strategy, safety, and support.
Now, a look at our last batch of new listings. We're excited about this week. The market is doing fantastic, and these are freshly listed properties. You may have not even seen it anywhere else right now, so take a good look. We have Michael Gobanian.
Michael Gobanian again.
It's a beauty. We've got the Serge and Manon, who are doing fantastic this year. Another beautiful property.
They've got 2, actually.
2 beautiful. If you want to schedule a private tour, we're here to make it happen. You DM us, you reach us, and we'll make that work for a day and time of your preferred viewing.
Exactly. So today we explored 10 great listings. We broke it down and what's happening in the Montreal market, and dug into some big picture concerns of Canadian families looking south.
A massive thank you to Burton Wilkins III for bringing such clarity and honesty to the Snowbird conversation. Whether you're buying in Montreal, selling in Ocean City, or simply trying to figure out your next move, we're here to help. Message us, book a tour, or ask your question in the comments. We always love hearing from you. That's it for this week's episode. See you next time on New Listings Live.
Have a good one.